Hi, welcome to the Book Corner with me, Mich Atagana. Let's discover new worlds together. Hello, and welcome back to the Book Corner with Mich Atagana. I am Mich, and today we are stepping into the world of dreams, and we are hopefully going to get lost in some cities and some vengeful gods or not so gods. I'm talking about Strange the Dreamer and the Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. These books, let me just grab them for you guys so you guys can see. Yeah. So it's a duology, and I love duologies. I'm still advocating for standalone fantasies, but if you have to write a series, I love duologies because they're so quick and they're so fun to read, and things really get wrapped up. But they also leave the world so open, so we can always revisit it later. But I think this book I got into, there's a TikToker called Emmy, and I think she read it and she read the first one and she was raving about it. I'm like, I have to get into this book. So I was like, I have to read them. So these are some of the stuff I wrote down when I was thinking about this episode about Strange the Dreamer and the Muse of Nightmares. These books are an exquisite blend of lush prose, heartbreaking emotions, and breathtaking world building. If you love stories that feel like they belong in a dream, characters will haunt you long after the final page, and themes of love, loss, and redemption, then this is the episode for you. So let's explore let's explore the mysteries of Weep, the magic of the dreams, as we break down Strange the Dreamer and the Maze of Nightmares. Um, when I first started reading Strange the Dreamer. It's such a what's the word I want to use for it? It was such an interesting sensory experience to me, right? Because I remember I picked up this book and the character is one of these people who really does get lost in their dreams. So his name is Lazlo Strange, and people called him Strange the Dreamer because he really lives in this complete world of his own, of his dreams. But it's the point that really gripped me was he was standing, kind of playing this make believe game. He's a young orphan who was found randomly and brought to this place where these monks sort of but it wasn't like a fun year. I'm living with these monks. It was awful. But there's a moment where he's about to say something and he lost the word. The word, it seemed, was snatched from his mind, was just taken from his mind. And that is the name of the city of Weep. So he was like, what is this place called? Like, what is the name of the city? And he runs to one of the monks and he goes, what is the name of the city? I can't remember the name of the city. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's always been known as Weep. And he was like, there's something wrong. The name is not right. And that's where the story begins, where we meet this character that is lost in so many ways. He is an orphan living with monks, and then he goes to this library where his job is to collect things for better suitable librarians to do the actual work. And he begins to gather information about this place, this name that was stolen from his mind. And this is really important because our story really is about how do you steal a name, one, and two, how do you learn about a place that you feel is lost in your mind. So he is trying to figure out the myth and of the mysteries of the city of Weeps. And then amazingly, people, the Taizaken, they call them Taizaken warriors from this mysterious city of Weep, show up to Laszlo's kind of town looking for help. They can't explain what help it is that they need, but they're like, they need people, they need like scholars, they need scientists, they need people who can solve the mystery of what has plagued their city. And Laszlo, having kind of almost lost all the stuff that he's worked on in terms of this place to a more accomplished and a more privileged kind of son of a duke type, favored by the queen type character, is so heartbroken that he doesn't get to visit this place that he's dreamed about his whole life, this place that he feels, so connected to. And then he sees this eagle, this white eagle, and he was like, and something compels him to speak up. And he's taught himself the language of Weep. So he speaks in the language. And the Taizaken warrior leader was like, interesting. Okay, come with us. So he goes with them. And we follow, so book one, we follow Lazlo as he finally begins to make his dream a reality to go to the city of Weep. But what he discovers when he gets to this forgotten city is literally something that he did not expect. It's a place that's haunted by the past, a place where magic literally lingers in their world, but also it is a city literally covered by this giant seraph. So, and it's in this like this almost like, I suppose if you had to imagine it, it's like a giant spaceship made of this weird metal, where it cannot be moved. The people of Weep have not seen the sun in 15 years. They have not seen, like, the structure covers the sunlight, and they have brought them there to remove the structure so that they can see the sunlight. And they've got all these people. So the Taizaken have journeyed all around to corners of the world to bring all the people they feel are going to be able to help them to get rid of this thing. They've got like a freaking arson specialist, an explosionist. They've got scientists, people versed in alchemy, so many people trying to move this thing. But here's the thing: the metal mesathium that is made of is not any normal metal, right? So the people who kind of left it was like they call them the gods, and the people of Weep rebelled against the gods, and before they left, their final act of kind of punishment was the god of secrets, or the goddess that eats things, ate the name of the city from memory, like literally just took it and disappeared it. So no one could ever know what that name is, the name of the place. But also, more importantly, the person who could control this metal, they killed this person when they killed all the gods. So now no one can move this metal. And even like, you have to have a special power to move this metal. They didn't know that when they were doing all this because they just wanted to rebel against these people. So here we are, we're in Weep. Lazlo is learning more about the Taizakin, learning more about Weep, trying to understand this giant structure that's shaped like a seraph, which the people of Weep worship because the seraph came and saved them from other demons, and that's how their kind of world began. And then we've got like Lazlo's kind of arch nemesis slash privileged, counter from his library, who he tried to help so many times, but obviously, being the snotty brat he is, kind of down on Lazlo. Both are here, and everybody's trying to solve this mystery of Wheat. And one day, Lazlo, in his dreams, meets this beautiful girl made of blue, the same color as the seraph. This girl looks like, the what are the goddess of, like, I think they call her the goddess of like despair or misery, because she can manipulate your emotion to make you feel whatever she wants. It turns out this is the daughter of that goddess. But she can go into your dream and she can give you nightmares maybe. And her and Laszlo begin this relationship. But they can only meet in each other's dreams. As we kind of go through the story, we begin to learn that, one, not all it seems as in the seraph. So this giant structure that is sitting at on top of Weep, there are four little godlings that are living there. Five little godlings that are living there, and an army of ghosts controlled by like a little tyrant of a little godling. And they are so afraid of the people of Weep because the people of Weep not only killed their parents, but killed all the other babies that were there with them in the nursery on the 15 years ago when all this happened. So while the people of Weep are terrified of this little blue, godlings, the blue little godlings are terrified of the people of Weep. So there's like a war about to brew between these two people without them actually understanding the kind of fears that are built on both sides. Um, and Strange the Dreamer kind of ends on this cliffhanger where the Muse of Nightmares is fallen down to earth, if you will, to the town of Weep. And Lazlo has learned that he is more than he seems because Lazlo touches the Mesathium and turns blue, like all the goblins. And that takes us to the Muse of Nightmares. So the second book, everything begins to unravel a little bit for us. We see the consequences of the past horrors. We see the struggle for vengeance and forgiveness play a huge role here because everything about this book is literally holding the feather, like a bit of a tether between like forgiveness and vengeance, and the consequences of what could happen if vengeance wins. There's like an unfathomable power that we see in like our kind of heroine of this story, which is again the young godling that Lazlo meets in his dreams, Sarai. And we also begin to like she begins to think like, am I a muse of nightmares? Is that all I'm made for? Am I meant to bring people pain and sorrow because that's what I've been told I had to do? And it really feels like it takes everything from Strange the Dreamer, this book, The Muse of Nightmares, and it amplifies it literally by going through deep traumas and also exploring the level and the depth of magic and what it can do in terms of healing with these kids. And again, mind you, these are like when we because we focus a lot of book two on the five godlings plus Lazlo six and just their struggle to try and figure out what is next for them. And let's not forget the oldest amongst these people is Lazlo. He's 20 years old. Everybody else is 15 or under. And it's like super intense to kind of see these children try to solve these big problems and deal with these big emotions without any real adult supervision. So um we kind of also begin to have like this whole dialogue around like who who is right. Do we see the pain of the vengeful? Do we understand the the kind of the traumas of the hurt? And is forgiveness really possible when none of these traumas are being addressed properly? And what I love is like Laszlo is possibly one of the most endearing protagonists I have ever read. Like literally, he's a dreamer at heart. Literally, like every dreamer in every sense of the word. He's kind, he's passionate, he's deeply hopeful. He believes the best for everyone. Like he thinks there can be a solution for everyone. Um, he loves like stories. Like his love of story really drives these books. He's very gentle and it's super refreshing to read because often like when you look at like male leads in some of these stories, they're such hardened dominating character warriors, but here we really meet a truly gentle hero who will do anything to kind of protect his adopted family, who will do anything to find a way for everyone to almost win in this situation. And he's such a reluctant hero as well. And then we meet Sarai on the other hand. So Sarai, our muse of nightmare, she's such a fascinating contrast to Laszlo. She's born from tragedy. She's caught between the two walls of like possessing the power to kind of make both your fears, like both like your world become something so feared and so fragile, as well as fragile. Like I also think that her ability to enter dreams is such a beautiful kind of way to kind of talk about the story of how Laszlo meets her because Laszlo is someone lost in his dream. And what a beautiful coincidence that he falls in love with a girl that can go into your dreams, right? And it's like literally but when I think about someone being able to bear witness to my dreams, it is both beautiful and terrifying at the same time. But her journey is so deeply emotional, especially in the second book, and the way she really thinks about the world that they're in. And then of course there's like Minya. So Minya is like, I think she has like the body of a 6-year old, but she's likely about 21. Like she's just a year older than Laszlo, but she has the body of a 6-year old. She's the one that saved these kids when the Taizakane were killing everybody when they were revolted against the gods. So she grabbed these 4 little kids and hid them so they wouldn't get killed. And the trauma of that almost stunted her growth. And all she knows is vengeance. Like she is in her tiny little body, radiating so much power. She's controlling these ghosts and she wants to take them to war and she cannot escape the past. She's consumed by the past, like she lives there. She's like literally the embodiment of survival and vengeance. And her arc in Muse of Nightmare is possibly one of the most compelling in the series. Like when we watch, like it's one of those characters where it is so hard to see if they will ever pour out. But the way that she kind of is written and where she ends up makes so much sense because she is her vengeance. We don't just get rid of her vengeance, right? we try to work around it, and I really really like that. Um, and then like for me, like this is such a when I think about just the world building in the story, I feel like there's such finesse to it. That's the word I'm using. There's finesse to it. It is soft, it is elegant, it's almost like a silhouette, you know, and it's also super lush. Like I find like, you know, it Weep is literally a city where you can feel like when I read it, I imagine Weep as this place that it's shrouded in darkness, but you can feel the pain in every corner. You can feel the history and you know the horrors that the gods you know kind of put on them without seeing the ghost. You can feel the ghost of the city of Weep. You can also see the magic of the gods, like just the mysteries of their past and the way that you know Taylor kind of slowly unveils like the truths that makes this experience. It's unlike anything I've ever read. It truly is because like because they tell like in Muse of Nightmares, we begin to kind of learn a little bit about how the gods became the gods, how they got here. And I love that in the Muse of Nightmares, where Strange the Dreamer was like this kind of linear story that was told. So we meet Lazlo. Lazlo, you know, does what Lazlo does best. He dreams. Lazlo meets the Tizer King. He follows them to Weep and begins the kind of understanding of what is happening in Weep, the giant structure in the sky that's covering the sun. It's very linear the way our story is told. Yes, some of it is told in dreams, in Laszlo's dreams, but it's very linear. Whereas Muse of Nightmare, we kind of go back a little bit. We learn about the origin of these gods, right? We begin to learn the origin of how they got here. We learn like the folklore or the religious belief that the people of Weep have about the seraphs who came to slay the monsters in their land, how they got here. We learned that they're just like interdimensional travelers who like just tore a veil between worlds and just flew in on their giant ships or whatever they flew in on, and that they never closed them. So other people from other worlds could easily go through those little doors that have been opened, right? And that's how, you know, this blue guards with their Mazathian ship flew in to this place. And we also learn, like, we really get an origin story of one of the gods. And you would think Minya is the only villain we have, or quote unquote villain we have in the story, but of another villain who has harbored, you know, a 200-year-old grudge on one of these gods named Scaphith. And I really, really like that we get to just explore like what has happened in this city, what brought this ship here, and what is keeping it here. We really get to learn a bit more about that, and we also get to learn like, you know, what does it mean, like what is the purpose of this has been. And interestingly enough, you know, the games gods play, these gods are actually just like supercharged you know, I actually feel like they're like almost like a supercharged scientist that tapped into something quite spiritual within themselves and then decided to profit off of it, which is so fascinating when you see where the story actually ended up. Like it really became a case of profit and cruelty. And I really really just thought that was a nice twist for where the story went. So I really love that. I love the story of like, you know, Lazlo and Sarai, and that romance is so beautiful. I think that, you know, for me, you know, it just feels inevitable for Lazlo and Sarai to either win or lose. And the losing was, I actually really thought they were going to lose. The connection is super pure. There's so much longing, and yet there's like so much tragedy around them, both from their past and in their present. And I think the love story is literally one of dreams and impossibility. And the fact that impossibility can does not root you down, right? Um, the way dreams work in this book is literally like it's not just a figment of your imagination; it's a tangible setting. You know, like scenes take place in dream that are relevant, not imagined, not your subconscious working out something. It is as real as your reality, right? So I really, really like that. They're powerful. They're deeply woven into the fabric of this world. And the atmosphere, not only is it dreamy, it's poetic, it's cinematic. And it's kind of like one of those things where you read the story and you kind of, it's like a half remembered dream, but it's so sharp. It's so sharp that you cloying at it to remember more. Um, but if I also look at beyond the romance and beyond kind of the dream world, is like the things I really enjoyed was like the sibling dynamics of these five little godlings. The relationship between Sarai and Minya specifically is supercharged and super intense and so well developed. Um, like it's literally one of the most gut wrenching aspects of the book. The bonds that they all have, I wish we could have seen a little bit more of their connection with the rest of the characters, like Farrell and Ruby and all of that. But I think she does a good job of like showing us where the dominant character in terms of the sibling relationship being Minya and Sarai constantly trying to, it's like our opposite, where Minya wants vengeance, Sarai just wants peace and wants to move on from what has happened. So I really, really like that. Um, yeah, so I like when I look at the book, it's so much more than just like magic, dreams, and like these lost cities, right? It's there's a lot about it around identity and around trauma, so much trauma. Like this kids witnessed brutal murders. This the people of Weep were stolen from their homes, raped, and their memories erased. Like it's just like it's awful. And they had children that they don't know what happened to those children. So there's a lot of intense trauma. Yeah, so yeah. So if you're gonna read this book, trigger warning, there's a lot of trauma, there's violence. Um, but I also love that it's also about reclaiming one's own story. And I think at the end, this is what we also learned with some of the ties that came where they were like, we're tired. There's like citizens that we like, we want to reclaim our lives. We cannot live in the shadow of this thing anymore. And both literally and figuratively. So I really kind of like that. And there's some powerful questions we get asked, or at least I ask myself when I read the book, is like, can we escape from the past? Can vengeance and healing coexist in one place? And ultimately, what does it mean to truly dream? And I had to think about that quite a bit. Like, what does it actually mean to truly dream? And I think Lazlo Strange is the epitome of what it means to dream, and not just to dream, but to like make your dreams manifest and to just hold on to that. So yeah, so some final thoughts. For me, Strange the Dreamer was an intoxicating poetic read. It truly was. I was completely swept away. I just When I was done reading this book, I think I was reading this book. I was in Paris when I was reading this book, and I remember when I closed the last page, it was 2 a.m. in the morning. I was in bed and I just closed the page and I just kind of sighed and sagged into my bed. And all I wanted to do was to just hang on to like the edge of my imagination of the story. Like I honestly did. I just wanted to hang on to the edge just for as long as possible because it felt like I was wrapped in this world for a beautiful moment and I didn't want to let it go. Uh, Muse of Nightmare, while breathtaking, it felt so heavy. It's so intense. It's filled with kind of so many revelations that you're just like, these are kids. They can't, how much more can they take? And the balance between beauty and darkness in this duology is masterful. It really is a balance between beauty and darkness. Like, and I'm so glad whoever at Hoda Books, I think, yeah, that's the publisher. Whoever at Hoda Books sat with Laini Taylor and said, we are going to call book one Strange the Dreamer and book two Muse of Nightmare deserves a raise. The people that agreed on this titling, because it is so perfect for the stories and the way these books kind of come together. So yeah, so that is Strange the Dreamer and the Muse of Nightmare. I really want you guys to read these books. It so this is also another book that doesn't feel like it's not a heavy fantasy read. It's just a really forget the magic, forget all of that stuff. Storytelling wise, it is so good. So I 100% will recommend these books. And that's all the time we have for today. There's a giant clock now, so I can see how much time I have. So, but that's all the time we have for today. I really hope that you've enjoyed this episode. And please, please, if you've read these books, please let me know your thoughts. I want to discuss them with you. You can find me on Instagram, Globe Mish, or you can find me on TikTok, Books and Sneakers. Let us explore these strange and beautiful worlds together. Until next time. And we out.